Welcome to Eye on the Illini Live. This is Mike Kegley with Kedrick Prince, Brad Sturdy. Maybe we're dealing with internet issues across Central Illinois, but we saw the Keaton Wagler game, and what a fun that was. We hear a lot about Braden Smith, a heck of a player. But there was one player on the court who stood head, shoulders, maybe even belly above everybody else. 46 points, leads the Illini to an 88-82 victory over Purdue, and sets the record for the most points scored by an opponent in Mackey Arena. Ked, how sweet it is.
Mike, I'm a grown man. And I'm nervous. I can't even use the keyboard right now. I'm so excited. You have no idea. I've told people, I've said it for a year. This is the one game on the schedule. You can go back to the podcast. I've done 4 podcasts this week. One, I thought they were going to win. But if there was one game on the schedule I wanted to win for so many reasons, it was this one. Because I'm going to start the show with a bang with it. Purdue has never won a national title. The Illini have never won a national title, but if you listen to the Purdue fans, or some of them, not all of them, you think they've won 17 in a row. The 2 best coaches, Mike, in the Big Ten in the last 6-8 years, Brad Underwood and Matt Painter. It's not just Matt Painter. You saw today an outstanding performance from Keaton Wagler, but the team stepped up the second half. They made plays and made shots when it counted. This was a big win, and I said at halftime, this win to me matters because if Illinois can continue to hold serve, this could get you a 2 seed and stay there. This is huge for so many reasons. Conference play, you knocked them down out of the conference. Purdue's lost back-to-back games. This is huge for Illinois. Now you have to continue to build on this, and you cannot let it slip up right now.
Yeah, this was a great one because I think 2 things happened. One is the rest of the Illini did show up. And they gave him the support he needed. But Wagler didn't slow down, 24 at the half, 46. I mean, goodness gracious, that was as all-inspiring of a performance as I've seen. We go back to the Brandon Paul game. You go back to some Terrence Shannon games, Kofi, Io. You and I go a lot longer back to some Kendall Gill and Eddie Johnson. But, I mean, this was just unbelievable, and to do it in the most nightmarish place in the Big Ten, that was just unbelievable. But I think the other thing that was so good, Ked, is he didn't force shots, and he probably could have taken 4 or 5 more, but instead he made that pass to his teammate because that's what the defense gave them.
He did. And Mike, we said at halftime, I did. I'm not going to pretend that I'm right. I was concerned about him doing this in the second half. He did it. And he could have. He really and truly could have, scored more, and he deferred to his teammates. And on top of the fact that he scored 46 points, how about the 2 assists when he deferred and gave up the pass to Ivises to make those threes, who hadn't scored anything the entire game? I mean, he was smart enough to do that and just confident. What a steal. What a steal. Excited for the fans, the coaches. These coaches are going to be professional. They're going to get on. You're going to hear all the right things, and Coach Underwood's going to say, give Coach Painter credit. And you should. You really should. But they're competitors. And this win was huge because you know how many games they've come to Illinois and won. And I remember this photo, and if I find it, it's going to be on my social media. Braden Smith coming to Champaign, when they beat Illinois in Champaign, basically putting Illinois to sleep and, talking trash to Terrence Shannon Jr. So I'm sure Terrence was watching this game. There's a rivalry with Purdue and Illinois that some people may not realize.
Well, and look, the bottom line is, and I've been an Illinois fan my entire life, but Illinois isn't on a higher plane than Purdue, and Purdue isn't on a higher plane than Illinois when it comes to basketball over the last 50 years. And anybody who looks down on this as not being an equal rival is foolish. And Indiana, to be honest with you, is actually, even though they were much higher than both these teams in the 80s, in the 70s, they fell down to where they're looking up at Illinois and Purdue. It is what it is. But this was unbelievable. Let's go through the stats a little bit for folks who may not have had the opportunity to take a look at things. But Illinois, Merkovich, 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. And they didn't know, he was questionable going into the game. Stojakovic had 5 points. He had 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and he drew the card of trying to guard Braden Smith, which is not an easy thing, especially when you're a big guy, tall guy, dealing with probably the quickest player maybe in the Big Ten. Tomislav, 7 points, all in the second half, 8 rebounds. Jake Davis, 8 points, had 3 boards, 2 assists. Keaton Wagler, I mean, come on, man. 13 for 17 from the field, 9 for 11 from the 3, 11 for 13 from the free throw line. He gets 46 points on 17 shots. That is nothing short of amazing. And if Sturdy can get connected, he can give you much more, insight into that. Lee didn't score for a minute. He was out there. Rickhouse had 6 points, 2 for 4 on the threes with 4 boards. Big Z had 4 points, 2 boards, and an assist. And Petrovic matched Braden Smith, going 0 for 1 in his minutes that he was out there. So you had that, of course. Braden Smith, 27 points, led the way for Purdue. Kaufman-Wren had 12. Meyer had 11. Clough, the human foul machine that never gets him called, had 9. And so they definitely, the 2 stars carried the team, but Keaton carried them really high. And of course, I think you had Downey with 53, and Andy Kaufman had something like 46. So that would be tied for second, I believe, with Keaton Wagler, and of course, number 1 all time for opponents in there. And let's take a look at the just the Illini stats. People like the plus minus. Merkovich was plus 14. Stojakovic plus 9. Tomislav 14. Wagler or Jake Davis was 5. Wagler was 9. -2 was Lee. -6 was Rickhouse. -10 was Big Z, although he had 2 really good blocks, and -3 was Petrovic. So you're seeing an Illini team that did an awful lot out there, scoring at a 1.443 clip, which is really good against a Purdue team. Held Purdue to 1.367 in that same stat line. And when you look at the overall game stats, comparing the 2 teams, you had Illinois was outshot 48 to 57% from the 3. Illinois was 47 to 37. That was a huge advantage, with 18 made threes compared to 7 for Purdue. Free throw percentage was 80. It was 73 for Illinois, 82 for our friends at Purdue. We also had, when you're taking a look at it, we also had turnovers. Illinois was 10-3, but they really collapsed that in the second half. I believe they did either 2 or 3 in the second half, so that was a great turnaround. Points off a turnover was 20-2 for Purdue, so you see the importance of that. But Illinois had a rebounding advantage of 33-19, 13 offensive boards to 3, 18 second chance points to 2. The rebounding erased the turnovers, essentially. Bench points was 22-10 for Purdue. Points in the paint was 44-14 for Purdue. But those 18 threes made a difference. Fast break points, Purdue had it 14-5. Blocks, Illinois 2-1. Steals 2-0 for Purdue. And assists 19-10 for Purdue. The game was tied six times. Illinois led for 8 minutes and 51 seconds, and there were 14 lead changes, and Illinois had the most important lead, which was at the end of the game. So, and that last turnover was a killer, as people talk about. That was huge. So, Ted, let's get back. Here's my premise. This was a massive win for Illinois' confidence, because if you can win at Mackey Arena, you can win anywhere. I'm not saying they will not lose on the road, but if you can face that crowd that loud and win a game, that Illinois team has to feel good. And they also know that they've got the guy that they can put the rocket on his back and he can carry the team. And when things get rough, it is so awesome to have that on your team. Keaton Wagler set himself up not as, one of the best players in the country, but he may be having the best freshman season in the history of Illini basketball.
It's hard to argue that. I mean, I knew stat for you. 9 3-pointers in the game. It's the most by any Illinois player in the history of Illinois athletics or Illinois basketball. Mike, there's been talk about him being first team All Big Ten. I tweeted about it along with Morez Johnson, Jeremy Fears. I forget the Oxford kid from Michigan, and I'm missing someone. And the other one, Keaton Wagler, was on that list. He just flat out put the nation on notice. This was a game that it was on Fox. Everybody in the country got to see it. I mean, and he made it look so easy. Purdue ran every player they possibly had at him. He is so creative with his shot and his shooting range. And not one time did you see him make a three-point motion, to sign to say, hey, I'm putting you to sleep. The way he put the All-American to bed tonight, Braden Smith. It was a remarkable performance, and this is going to be talked about for Illinois fans for a long time. And I'm just looking at now. I said it the Maryland game. Colin Boswell was gone, but I saw everybody step up. Mike, this team really does have the talent to go on a Final Four run. And to me, you got to get a 1, 2, or 3 seed. 1, 2, or 3 seed, Illinois has a shot. I look at the other teams that are possibly going to be around them and who you would play. The season's not over. I understand that, fans, so don't at me and tell me, well, we got to get through the rest of the Big Ten. But what they did nationally, I mean, how do you not put them in the top 4 or 5 in the country? How do you not? And I'll tell you, I see the Aries 262. I said it the last podcast. Illinois was going to win at Purdue, at Nebraska, or Michigan State. One of those games they were going to win.
Yeah.
It was going to happen.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Somebody said maybe Illini beating Michigan without Io, and I'm not. That was, I believe that was up in Ann Arbor, and that was pretty huge too. The games are huge for different reasons. Illinois was down by 10 points one time in the first half, and then Purdue got it back out to 11 again. Illinois came back. If you're looking for things to talk about from a coaching standpoint, this was a pretty amazing one for the Illini, because there were so many times, you didn't have Boswell, you had all these issues going on, and then you get down a couple times by 10. The rest of the team is not playing particularly well. There was a lot of things that could have happened to derail this team, Kev, but they stayed focused.
They stayed focused. And how about this stat? And I think you gave it. I was up last night, literally, I'm not exaggerating, till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just trying to analyze the game, watching film of both teams, listening to podcasts from different people. And the one thing that kept coming back to me, that just kept registering to me, was 2 things. Illinois is the tallest team in college basketball, and the offensive rebounding. People kept thinking, was that going to be the key? Mike, 13 offensive rebounds to 3. That size really did come into play. Illinois, their philosophy is this: we're going to let you shoot 2s, and you're going to shoot over the top of us. And I'll be honest with you, I have to give a little credit here to Andres Stojakovic. He had a tough task of guarding Braden Smith, who did finish with 27 points, and he did have 12 assists. Kudos to him. A lot of those, he's really good. He's coming off screens. He's a good college basketball player. I mean, as frustrated as I get, and I have been with some of the Purdue faithful, I have to give that kid credit. He is an outstanding college basketball player. And I know people from a Big Ten standpoint, fans will be glad he's gone, because they're probably sick of seeing him. And he's always played really, really well against Illinois. But today, his team was beaten by the Illini and / freshmen. I mean, Keaton Wagler had more points than the entire team, I believe. About 2 points, I think. So, big game, national stage. I'm really curious. And actually, Mike, they talked about him being the freshman of the week in the Big Ten. He could potentially be the national player of the week. Everybody saw the performance, and those who didn't will probably watch it later.
Yeah, it's hard for me. Like I said, you sit back and you look at this, and this is just a game of incredible, plays by him because, again, he played within himself. So when all of a sudden when they're playing around a little bit with their defensive coverages and trying to do things differently, if Wagler's covered, he just gets it to somebody who's open. He doesn't force things. And that was just pretty incredible, overall what we saw there. And I did think the only thing that Stojakovic forgot about when he was guarding Braden is, yes, Braden is quicker than you. But I think he forgot he's 6'7", and there were several times that he went up in the air that I thought that he didn't have to because he has that 7 or 8 inch height differential. And I just think I think that basically that's something that maybe, I might have tried to remind him on, hey, you don't have to get up in the 7 inches shorter than you. Your arms are 8 inches longer than his. Stay on the ground, make him go over you. And I think sometimes Stojakovic maybe hustled and tried a little too hard.
He did. Mike, I want to answer something here. I have to, and I really can't ignore it. I'm really sorry. A lot of people are still commenting to me, and somebody here posted it on our message right now, on our comments, about Milo Petrovic. I want people to understand, he came into this team with the intention, and the coaches came into this with the thought process of him probably being a starter alongside of Boswell. Go back and research it, number one. And if people really don't understand why he's not playing, I'll tell you what, ask Purdue why he's not playing a lot. Because you just saw the guy who torched that whole Mackey Arena for 46 points. You're going to take him off the floor. You're going to take Colin Boswell off the floor. His injury set him back. I really do think the kid is talented. You can see it. He can still get to the rim on anybody. But he's in a numbers game. So all the people out there who don't understand what's happening, they're not giving it for him. Was he going to come back? I hope he does, because you can see the talent there. You saw the Minnesota game. He is a special talent. But if any coach right now on earth, name a coach who would sit Keaton Wagler or Colin Boswell and tell me who would do it. Should he get more minutes? I would like to see that, Mike. I really would. But right now, I'm not. That's the least farthest thing from my mind. But I don't want people commenting to me about it the whole time because it was at Purdue, because I made a comment about his talent-wise. And if you follow Illinois athletics, Illinois basketball, you've seen how well he can get to the basket. You can see how he makes other people better. You see the similarities. He's not playing 30, 40 minutes a game. If he played 30 minutes a game, would he be possible to put up numbers, great numbers? Yes, he would. But right now, defensively, he's not ready. And at the end of the day, enjoy this right now with Keaton Waggler. Enjoy the lineup right now. This is a special team. Badender was one of his best teams was when we went to the Final Four in 23 with Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins in their group. This team is dangerous. They are extremely dangerous. If I had give on a grading scale 100%, if I had one concern, and that's a 1%, is that they're a good free throw shooting team, but they have a tendency, Mike, I'll give them a 99% out of 100. They have a tendency to lose focus down the stretch. They missed 6 or 7 free throws in the second half. They could have been up by 8 or 9 points at one point if you make those. And you're not going to make every free throw, I understand it. But your 80% free throw shooters, you got to make those.
Yeah, no, the other stat that is astounding, and I got this text over to me by Larry, but if you look at it, Illinois shot 22 free throws and Purdue shot 11 at Mackey. I don't know that. I wonder if that's the biggest free throw differential that has ever been at Mackey, because I've been watching Illinois basketball and Big Ten basketball since approximately 1977. And, if to see them outshot, or even tied for free throw attempts at Mackey is a pretty rare thing. To see it where they get doubled, I just think that was incredible. There were so many. That's just difference. And I will say one thing: they let Clough. It's a beautiful coaching, because I would do the same thing. But every time that Tomislav comes up to try to set the pick, Clough pushes him in the back,
Oh my gosh.
and they never call it, and it's right out there in front. And I don't really understand how Big Ten refs allow some of this crap to happen. But unfortunate, they got the good side of the whistle at a place that never happens, kid.
One brief comment. I'm not going to ruin the moment. I watched the Illinois women play today, and the first 5 minutes of the game, I felt bad for Shauna. I'm thinking to myself, you have to get tossed out. The officiating set the tone, and they recovered late. But you just have to start acting. Women's basketball, you should take theater class, number one. Okay, I don't think the officiating in the men's game today cost Purdue the game that it cost Illinois the game. Illinois fouled 14 times, Purdue fouled 17. And this is a new statistic that people are learning about. Illinois is the least fouling team in college basketball. They don't do it; they practice it. So that's why I say when people talk about the free throw discrepancy, you really can't use that argument. It makes no sense. Why would you do that? Some teams don't foul. They really don't. And here's a statistic. Purdue only had 3 turnovers to Illinois' 10. It was a well-clean game. The difference in the game to me was the kid wearing the Superman, the Thor, the Hulk, whatever you want to call Wonder Woman cape, was Keaton Wagler. That was a key difference in the game to me. And then the shots by Tomislav down the stretch, and they out-rebounded Purdue offensively. Those were the keys of the game. It just was. And how about this? Illinois shot 38 threes, man. That's an awful lot of three-point field goal attempts. And Brad doesn't get mad. I saw him put his head down to one kid. I'm not going to say the kid's name because it's not the day and time to do that. But for the most part, he's encouraging that.
Yeah, and Brad's not here, but of course I made a vow that if Illinois wins at Purdue, I was going to go down to Louis Pizza down here in Dallas and eat a complete pizza all by myself, and a large salad, because I don't want to be unhealthy. I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to have to wait a week because we can't get anywhere because we're iced in. So, but I am a man who will live up to my vow, kid. If I got to go destroy a pizza, it's what God wanted me to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, what I did when the game was over, my daughter looked at me and she said, "You're not my dad anymore." I opened up the door and the entire neighborhood heard exactly what I thought of Purdue. One of my neighbors across the street is an Illinois fan. He's a Green Bay Packers fan. I have to still like him. He walked over and knocked on my door. He gave me a high five and asked if I was fine, and he knew what was up. I'm telling you, you could probably hear me from 3 blocks from my neighborhood, and nobody was probably listening because, point being, Illinois has had so many things go against them, luck, making shots. I had a friend text me on one of Braden Smith's 3-point shots. Do they ever miss? Can Illinois catch a break? They're making their own breaks right now. They are, and enjoy it. Enjoy this because it doesn't come around very often. They put a team together, and Mike, they lost pretty much most of the team, and they put together another good team. Now, I want to comment real quick about Jake Davis. We've had some debates on these podcasts about Jake Davis and comparing him to Benjamin Rickhouse. I have told people a million times, and I'm looking right. I'm looking correct. That kid can shoot a basketball, and he's starting to rebound and play defense. He has to be on the court, and there's a reason that he's starting. And I like him. And I mean, Ben did a lot of great things, and he made some nice shots today. He really did. But I'm going to tell you, and the 3 in the corner by Jake Davis was huge. And this was a big homecoming for him and Ben. They're both from Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and you look at it, the Illini now, They go ahead and again, this would be tied for second. Keaton Wagler, what an incredible game. But Illinois goes out and beats a number 4 team on the road, and they do it in impressive fashion. So we have been hearing an awful lot of the Brad Underwood, doesn't coach well in big games, and Purdue has been a challenge for Brad Underwood recently. I think this was he would never admit it or talk about it, but I think this was a big game for Brad Underwood and for the Illini program to kind of say, okay, you know what, we slew the dragon today in a game that most people thought, with Kylan Boswell out, that Illinois was not going to win this game, that it was going to be a Purdue victory, and that it might not even be a Purdue victory that was very nerve-wracking for Boiler fans. And it turned out to be the exact opposite with what they were able to bring to the table and how they were able to adapt to Purdue switching around their coverage in the second half, and Illinois saying, okay, we'll just take something a little different. And the rest of the team was able to start hitting shots in the form of Tomislav, in the form of Jake Davis, in the form of, even him, Rickhouse had a couple. And I think that was a key in this victory today.
It was key. The supporting cast, like you mentioned, they stepped up the second half. They made timely shots, both be Jake and Tommy missed shots. And my big guy, one of my favorites, is Tomislav, had a couple of nice blocks when it mattered. Let me ask you, Mike, and all of our lovely listeners out there, if there was one, and there's a lot to choose from, if there was one shot from Keaton Wagler that just made you think, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm watching this. For me, it was a 3-point play when he got fouled. I literally could not.
I would have said the exact same thing.
I became numb. I'm thinking, there's no way in the hell I'm watching this kid do this to Purdue on national TV. And he got up and act like nothing had happened and it was expected. And what was priceless for me, and I'm sorry, I'm excited, was watching the fans become stressed out. And I thought they were excited because he missed a free throw because he had scored 80 points against them. They were excited about the damn chicken nuggets and not have missed the free throw. But, kudos to the team and coaches. You go out, you recruit. Illinois is battling with, Purdue for recruits even as we speak right now, that they're looking at kids and stuff. So this is the kind of stuff that you can go say, hey, you know what? This is why you want to come to Illinois. This is why you want to compete and you want to have a chance to compete for Big Ten titles. That Illinois has a great fan base. We're putting guys in the NBA, so I'm sure when they have some of these conversations with some of these kids that they're recruiting, they're going to refer to this game tape and the success that Purdue's had on the road. The one guy that comes to mind to me is the 7'3" kid, Luigi Suigo. I think that's his name, from Italy. That's another kid that Illinois and Purdue are kind of battling. Illinois has a feather in their cap right now. And if my memory serves me correctly, I'm not 100% sure, but I really think that they only play once this year. Now, Mr. Jake, I was not going to comment about the officiating because Illinois won, but I'm going to tell you, they flopped. They got away with it a lot. They shoved in the back and got away with it. A little bit disappointed to see some of that. I mean, that's happened a lot in college basketball, more than what you can possibly imagine. I watch other teams play. And in the women's game today, I saw a lot of that. And I don't know, they have to do something with that. I think if you're going to call the hook and hold and give them flagrants, if people are flopping like fish, you gotta call it. That's because officials see the tail end of it, and then they call it.
Yeah, I think when you're talking recruiting, the huge advantage that I see to Illinois is that Underwood's pretty flexible. He lets you use your skills. You got to be good, but if you've got him, you're going to play. This is a freshman scoring 46. This is not wait your turn university. The other thing I think is really good is on a day when you're hitting 47%, that's the day you shoot 38 threes because the return on investment is really high. And I don't know that there's a lot of coaches who would be comfortable allowing a team to do that. And so if you're wanting to play a brand of ball that's fun, if you're willing to fire up some threes, play some defense, you can get a lot of minutes at Illinois and you can look pretty good.
Oh, most definitely. And they're in on a lot of those kids. Mike, I think you mentioned this, and I do. I know you did for a fact. You did for a fact. They did this without Kylan Boswell. They did this without him being on the floor. That tells you the ceiling of this team. I mean, right now, there was a lot of buzz around Michigan start of the year when they were beating everybody by 40, and now they seem to come back to earth a little bit. I mean, they played well against Ohio State, good enough to win. But right now, and I know Andy Katz, I can't wait to see his top four, five best teams in the Big Ten because he left Illinois off of it. Can't wait to see what that looks like next week.
Yeah, and this is one where Ked and I always have to take a little breath. But St. Dominic's Rosary actually is in a good mood today. And we've been saying top 10 to 15. If again he's going to be, he may be moving up in the draft rankings, because when you can put together a game like this without forcing shots, that's just, it's really hard to explain, because usually 46 means somebody took at least 10 shots that you're like, dude, that was a dumb shot. I don't know that he took. Did he take a bad shot today, Ked?
No,
I don't remember a bad shot.
He doesn't. I mean, there was, Mike, you said it right. There was times when he probably could have shot more.
Yeah,
he really could have. And I think it was great because it kept the defense honest, because they were sending 2-3 people at him at one point in time. But when they cleared the floor, this is why you, from a basketball standpoint, X's and O's. This is why, and Morez Johnson could potentially be the player of the year in the Big Ten. He could be. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. He's having an outstanding year. One of the reasons Illinois wanted guys like Zonomir and Tommy is because you keep the floor spread, because you have to be able to guard all 5 guys that can shoot. Mike, where I'm going with this is this. Keaton Wagler, because you can't leave off Zonomir, you can't leave off David, you can't leave off Andre, because you're going to pay for it. This is why Keaton Wagler is able to get to the basket at free will. So this is one of the offense. This is what Brad Underwood wanted. He wanted an offense where you could literally spread the floor and just go do what you have to do, and they're doing that. I mean, because if you have another guy in the post, which is like 2 + 2 is common sense, the floor is not going to be spread open like that, because they can say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to guard this guy. Morez good? He's having a great season. But this is why you have all 5 guys. And I watched Matt Painter say this. He said it on his press conference this week. Who do you stop? Because you have to guard all guys, all of them. You can't help all.
And a big thanks to Jack Kilbride. We appreciate that. Great Illini victory today. Thank you for putting that in there as well. And here's one. Wagler is our Kurt Warner. So now we're talking, somebody bagging groceries at the Hy-Vee, who ends up leading a team to the Super Bowl. And let's hope that Keaton Wagler can lead Illini to the national title. I will tell you what, again, I'm not saying Illinois is the best team, but this gives them a puncher's chance at anybody in the country when you can have a player who can pick up the team, put them squarely on their back, carry them for a half, and then really not lessen the load in the second half. The second half wasn't Keaton Wagler didn't play as well. The second half was the rest of his teammates tried to match him. That was a heck of a game, and that was just awesome to see.
It was. And I'll tell you what was cool about it for the people that, you may not have heard this quote yet. Keaton's saying he's not surprised. Their goal is to win a national title. That's what he came to Illinois for. He said that today, and I know when I talked to him before he got on campus, he's won his whole life. That's what he's done. So he's not fazed by anything, and he expects to win. And right now, he put the rest of the conference on notice. Who guards him? Who in the conference right now and I think one of the best on-ball defenders is Jeremy Fears out of Michigan State.
But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't guard him. Unless you flop, that is the only way you're going to be able to stop him, is get him out of the game. And if the officials start calling it, Brad Underwood better speak up, because I'm telling you, he gets to the rim. And he meant the other night he was 1 for 9 from the field, and I took it as a bad shooting night or not a great performance. But then you look at the rest of his numbers. He had 7 or 8 rebounds and 6 or 7 assists. So that's what you want. If you're not going to score, then do other things. He's doing that, and he's done that. So I mean, and this what is also neat is that when the game's on the line, the rest of the team, they know to give the ball to him. They're saying give the ball to him. They're all deferring to him. I saw Stojakovic do it. The Ivica brothers did it. Jake does a good job of this, and I tell you what, Jake does better than anybody in the team. Anybody. Brad wants the ball to consistently move. The ball never sticks with Jake Davis. He gets rid of it, and you watch that when he's in the game, his action, the shot selections for everybody else. I don't know. I'm not going to look at the analytics. I'm using the eye test. They're getting better shots. They're getting open shots because he doesn't get the ball and dribble. He gets the ball and he gets rid of it quick.
Yeah, that was a great one, and I'll tell you what, it was kind of bookmark this in your mind. I think people forget because Brandon Paul got stuck on John Gross's watch, but man, that game against Ohio State, he was nothing short of amazing. Terrence Shannon had a couple games in the Big Ten tourney that were just unbelievable. You go back and think about Io, some of his finishes. But this game, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, I call it, you're going to see the title of this podcast is the Keaton Wagler game. This was Michael Jordan with the flu. I mean, this was he came out here, and in the first half, I really believe, Ked, they might have been down 20 at the half, at least 15 at the half, if Wagler hadn't played so well. And Purdue knew it and couldn't stop him. I mean, got to give him hats off on that performance. It's just, and it's something that I know we're kind of going overboard on it, but you just don't see this type of performance on a regular basis across the country, let alone Illinois, where generally it's been more of a team that plays team ball, and he did it all today.
Can you imagine what his family's thinking right now? Yes, he did visit Kansas. He did. So people think that he didn't visit them and Kansas didn't recruit him. They did, but they didn't offer him a scholarship. So I get that. I think that's great. But his parents have to be, they're never going to say anything. I've talked to Dad before. Real humble people, extremely nice, humble. They're just taking this all in stride. I mean, Illinois has this is a really good close team. Brandon Boswell, talked to him a couple of days ago about Kylan's injury. And, one of the things he talked about was the team first. This team really is driven. They want to win it all. They want to get to a Final Four. And if there's a team out there that deserves it, it's Illinois. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, and I don't want to, throw up on my microphone. Purdue does it as well. They deserve a chance because there's two really good teams that have done really well in college basketball. And then on the Big Ten front, they deserve to get there. They really do. Boswell.
Well, and it was funny. Yeah. Well, remember, we actually talked about this. Boswell's injury, something you didn't want to have happen, but it gives he hopefully 3 to 6 weeks. He will be back in time to get ready for the tournament, and Illinois may develop another guy or two who can contribute, or Keaton Wagler will turn into the Michael Jordan of Illinois basketball, and this opportunity is there. And I'll tell you, that's what happens with people who succeed in life is when the opportunity arises, they put their best foot forward. Wagler's not perfect, but he just basically continued to say, this is what I can do for my team. And when the opportunity arose, he played within himself. And I know that sounds horrible, like a cliche, but it's true. He didn't force things, and he made his team better. So I thought it was really good. And ultimately, we're looking at a team that has that opportunity to now step up a level, and their defense, hopefully, will be improved until Boswell gets back, and then we have Boswell back.
Hey, I need to apologize to this fan here. I really do. Kevin, you're 100% right. My microphone was unplugged the entire time, and I apologize for that. Hopefully I sound a lot better now. I do have a very nice microphone, nice donation. This microphone was actually $400. I plugged it in, See, it's working now. It wasn't plugged in, so I apologize for that. So hopefully it's better and you can hear me. Again, sorry about that. That's just me being excited. I'm lucky I didn't throw it out the window because of the game. I was too excited. So sorry about that.
Yeah, and the other thing that we got to say, it's true, is Tyler Underwood, let it go, guys. His offense is cooking against everyone. 9th win in a row. Offense is at historic levels. I think only one team historically has a better offensive level this late into the season, and including it's actually even more efficient than the 04-05 Illini. So you've got to give Tyler Underwood credit. And, oh, by the way, he was the guy who alerted his dad to Keaton Wagler. And I put in a link to the Eye on the Illini that we released last night. Had the opportunity to interview CJ Moore, who is a writer for The Athletic, who just wrote a fantastic article on Keaton Wagler. And I did not realize it, but CJ lives in the same town. His son played basketball, is in the same class as Keaton Wagler. So the article was fantastic. I tried to ask him some additional things, and it's interesting because I asked him how good this Illini team would be, and he said with everybody healthy, probably top 5 or 6 in the country. Well, CJ looks pretty smart today.
Oh, Mike, a lot of those coaches do, and a lot of the coaches and who go out and they find special talent, see things that other people don't see. I mean, let's be honest with you. Yes, they offered him a scholarship, and it was great. I don't think they thought he'd be this good. I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if you ask them. I know they're going to take the high road and say yes. They probably will say yes. You know, this is what we expected out of him. But, geez, this was just. I mean, right now, you look at all across social media, it doesn't matter. There's other fans from other schools, Iowa, Michigan. They're all talking about Keaton Waggler and how he just basically, you know, if you look at it along with Michigan, he just, in Illinois now, they just, you know, by beating them and put them in position to challenge Nebraska. Nebraska had a tough game today on the road up in Minnesota in the barn. They have some tough games left still, too. Illinois has to go there. I know there's going to be some extra motivation. I said it when they beat Maryland the other night. It took an overtime in the last-second shot to beat Illinois. Do you think they're not going to be motivated to go up there and get a win? They will be. And this is a different team than – and let's also say this. Illinois has won 9 games in a row. 9 in a row. That's the record for Brad Underwood at Illinois.
Yeah, and they, you know, and even as we speak – you've got Terrence Shannon out there tweeting out highlights of Wagler. So once an Illini, always an Illini. It's great to see that. So I think in the end, I really look at it as one of those things that you know, the Illini snowball is getting bigger. And look, yeah, he did have an amazing AAU coach. I'm not going to take away from the article or the podcast, but that AAU coach was critical, and Keaton stuck with him instead of going to play for one of the teams that had a shoe contract out of Kansas City. So he didn't play with the Nike or the Adidas team, not because they didn't think he was talented, but because he stuck with a guy who picked him out when he was younger. And so there's a lot there that you can get about Keaton Wagler. There's a lot to like. And the other thing, it's great when you have a kid who is playing wonderfully, but he's also the type of kid that you root for every day. And Illinois has been really good about having players like that not only are you happy to see them do well, but you really enjoy, you know, when you get the opportunity to talk with them, et cetera, as a media member. There's a lot of high-class individuals who've went through here. And that is, you know, Ked, you probably know the player side more than anybody.
That part is true, and you know, I understand why you would want to, you know, like let's use like Nike. Why you want to go to those events? They've done successful, they've done well over the years, and you know, some of the players who don't have an opportunity to play on the circuit. Some players get overlooked. Some players, some teams are already full, and obviously Keaton is the winner. And I know a lot of Kansas fans are thinking, how did we mess this up? And I know Kansas State, I didn't mention them. I know they recruited him a little bit as well. I know they have to be kicking themselves, but if anybody thought that kid was going to do this, can you imagine? It wouldn't have just been Illinois and Kansas State and Minnesota. It would have been the UConns, the Michigans, and Purdue, everybody else. They just got lucky, and I know right now Ethan Brown's a kid who's already committed to Illinois. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, this kid is putting up some remarkable numbers himself. He's scoring 40 points a game at the high school level, and I talked to one of my friends who runs the Iowa side up in my area, made the same comment. He was like, a lot of coaches are kicking themselves for letting this kid get away. Kudos to Illinois for getting in on these kids early. So you have to get out, you have to have an eye for talent. And I'm telling you, Brandon's right. This kid is going to be really, really good when he gets to Illinois. He's an Illinois type player. And what I see too, Mike, this is the first time in the Brad Underwood era of the last 2 years, he's put his system in place. When he first got there, it was deny up the line, pressure, do whatever you have to do, foul trouble. But now he's putting his stamp on a mix of high school talent, players from across the pond. He's putting a team together. His system now, spread the floor, shoot the basketball. If you can't shoot the basketball, you're going to have a hard time playing for me. And they recruit players that are like that.
Yep. And if you shoot the basketball and you can play defense, you will play. And I don't know that there's a better school. Obviously there's some other good ones, but with what Illinois runs, if you want to do a demo to show you're ready for the NBA, come play at Illinois, because you're going to be forced to run an NBA style offense and you're going to be forced to play defense out on the perimeter. And if you can do those two things, the paychecks will flow, and not just to play at Illinois, but to play in the NBA. So I think that is something good. And then you've got the other option, of course. Last year with 2 one-and-dones, Illinois never had one before, 2 in one season, and this year very well could be the third. And look, I am so excited to see an Illinois player do well and get that. But I have to admit, Wagler's so fun to watch that I will miss the fact that we didn't get more time with him. But boy, he looks so good out there right now, Ked, that, I'm not saying it's inevitable, but it feels inevitable that he'll be a high pick in the NBA draft.
Yes. Mike, Mr. Jack Kilbride made a comment about Kylan Boswell. I was there at Media Day when he was just oozing over Keaton Wagler. And I remember sitting next to a couple other media members when Coach Underwood told us he had some Kasparis, Will Riley, and he reminded him of Ayo Dosunmu. And people, when we all tweeted it, people thought we were stupid because they said that was Brad Underwood overhyping a player. You know what? He didn't overhype a player. And when we got a chance to talk to Kylan Boswell, he used some words that we can't say on this podcast, but he referred to him as how cold he was as a basketball player and how poised he was, and Keaton will give credit to Kylan because he's a great defensive player, and coming in right away, having to go up against him made him a better player. And this is a part where Kylan told me during Media Day in Champaign was that Keaton does a really, really good job in the two-man game and pick and roll. He always makes the right decisions. And if you think about it, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He always gets assists tonight. I think he had 4 tonight, which was low for him. So Kylan's right. He's really, really creative, with finding people, getting guys in position where they can score. I just love that part of his game. And you know what? And for a freshman, again, I said earlier at halftime, he's really basically a sophomore now. To be that poised and to have a team that's older defer to you says a lot about your character. It says a lot about the coaching staff to have faith in him. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but one of the timeouts late in the game, they were giving him a bunch of Gatorade. He was exhausted. But his face was red, but he never quit.
Yep. And Allen's correct. The Boilers would have got blown out without Smith. Yeah. And look, I think this is going to be this season, folks. I'm just telling you, I don't know what Illinois is going to do in the long run, but I am going to tell you, absorb the moment because this is a special team. We'll see how far they go. You have to have a little bit of luck. You got to have a little bit of somebody, playing well in the clutch. But this team is a fun team to watch. They're very connected. They play well together. Ked, final comments, but before I go over to you for that, just remember something, folks. You can follow me at Mike Kegley on X. You can follow Ked at KedPrince4 on X as well. Go over there and do that. We would love to have we'd love to have more followers, people we can talk Illini sports with. Also, you can go right here on YouTube if you're there. Go to IlliniGuys.com YouTube channel, subscribe. We would love to have you there. Again, make our community a little bit better. And IlliniGuys.com, that's the mothership. It's only $99 a year, 27 cents a day. Sign up. We have our game room, which was frenetic today. We have our message board, all these areas where you can actually talk to Ked, Brad, myself, Larry, Matt, Zeno, whoever you want to talk to. You have that one-on-one contact. It's not like you're a member of something and we just send you our thoughts from on high. We get in the elbows with the fans. We enjoy it. That's why we started Illini Guys. Great place to be. Please go over there, take a look. It's easy to register. Join up. We'd love to have you. Coverage is great all year round. And we've got our radio show, Illini Guys Sports Spectacular, that's on for an hour a week across the state. You can also get that on podcast. So just that little advertisement. Ked, why don't you wrap this up, and then we will let people go.
I'm going to start with Twitter's going to be fun for me tonight, or X. I'm just giving you a fair warning. I'm going to have a field day with that. I love seeing all the fans that typically aren't loyal fans but are fans of Illinois come out of the woodworks, text, get on social media about this win. I think this does wonders for your resume. I can't emphasize this enough. This was really, really a good win for the team. It builds confidence. If you can go into Mackey and win, you got to think to yourself, there's not a place in the Big Ten that you can't go in and win. That includes Michigan State. That includes Nebraska. It doesn't matter. I mean, will they win? That remains to be seen. I'm not saying that, but this is they have a good shot at doing some things well. And they have all the pieces. And I'll close with this. As well as they played today, you didn't have your defensive stopper out there in Kylan Boswell. So you remember you're going to get him back at some point, and that's just going to add depth to your team. Mike, you did ask about, who's benefiting from this the most. I think it's Jake Davis. He's getting a lot more minutes. He's doing his job. He's vocal on the floor. He's been there for 2 years. He's making shots. He's rebounding and playing defense. When podcast is over, go enjoy the win. So those who like to go take their favorite drink, I would advise you to go do it tonight.
Yeah, this is a great night to stay inside, stay warm, and stay off the roads. Enjoy it. This was a fantastic victory. Just got a text from, one of the coaches, and they're excited. This was a fantastic win. So we want to make sure. And look, we all dislike Purdue, so it's nice. They dislike us. They like beating us. No big deal. And you know what? Do we know how to act when we aren't complaining about refs? We really don't. So that's that one. We're gonna own that. But look, I don't know if Brad's internet is down where he lives, so I don't know if we'll be able to get him on a podcast. I'll see if I can corral him Sunday night, and we'll see if we can figure something out. Because it's got to be frustrating for Brad. He's got all this knowledge he's ready to drop, and he can't get on to do it. So we'll see if we can find that and make that happen for you. And we'll put something out there, do something live like this. It was fun. But until next time, of course, we've got the Washington game coming up, and that is coming up on Thursday night. So we'll be back for that. We'll see if we can get Brad, like I said, to do a podcast between now and then. and you never know who we'll run into, like CJ Moore. I put that one in the link. Please take a look at that one. I released it on a Friday night, which is not a good time to release, but sometimes you get these national media guys, and he's one of the guys who was willing to talk to us, lowly individual team guys. And CJ gave a fantastic interview. It's well worth the watch. But we will be back, at the latest on Thursday night, hopefully before then. Until then, folks, go Illini.